Hi, this is Christopher Bruza, and I'm back with another rifle tour. This isn't all the channels are going to focus on, but they're easy to make when I'm bored sitting around. And this time we're here with my end of days Red Dawn grab and go do it all rifle. It's something that can do pretty much everything any bolt action can do, and it's not really good at any of them. It's a Remington 700 long action. This one's made out of carbon steel. It started its life as a 25-06 SPS with a camo stock. The thought is 30-06 is extremely common. The ammo's everywhere. I have a ton of it. I shot it for years. Most people know what it is. Ballistically, it's a great cartridge. Wide variety of ammunition. There's decent brass available. So that's what I used for this build. With these tours, I start at the butt, work my way down to the muzzle. As you can see here, I have a suppressor sitting on the table. Normally it's on the rifle, but couldn't completely get it in frame, so it's sitting there. Like I said, it's a 700 long action, and it is sitting in a McMillan HTG stock, which is in molded forest camo. You'll notice I seem to like the forest camo, and that's due to my obsession with the M4 If I get a McMillan, it's going to be forest camo, or depending on the rifle and goal of the rifle, I'll do a McWoody here and there. So this is a stock that was originally based off the M40A1. It's not a hunting style stock. It's beefier, it's heavier. Especially in the fore end, there's a lot more material here. As you can see, it's a Varmint barrel, which it swallows up. I'm sure you could use an M24 contour barrel in here if you wanted. But it's not thick, chunky like McMillan A5 or A3-5. It still retains that somewhat hunting rifle feel. You can shoot it offhand. I do hunt with this rifle once in a while. Maybe once, twice a season I'll take it out just for the fun of it. So we got a regular Packmeyer recoil pad, my usual 13.5-inch length of pull, and you'll notice this has a adjustable cheek piece on here. It did not come like this. McMillan does not offer I believe the only cheek piece they offer is the one with a thumb wheel inside of the stock. This was installed by Joe Ducos, who they call the stock doctor. Great guy, exceptional work, and he installed the KMW adjustable hardware in this. I will put his contact info below. He likes to be contacted via text message if you want him to do something for you. I highly recommend him, whether that's mounting an Arco rail, putting a pick rail on there, cutting stuff up, whatever you can dream up, I'm sure he can do. But his primary business is installing this KMW hardware. And he does it on the side, I believe, as a side job. So the way this stock is designed, the drop is quite a bit. I don't know how you would shoot it without some sort of cheek riser. I originally tried the Triad tactical packs that I put on the back, and they come with a Velcro strip so you can stack up. I had it stacked, well, I guess you can see this high, to the point where when I put my cheek on it and really lay in there and get comfortable behind the rifle, it would push it over and slide it. So I tried taping it and things like that, which interfered when you went to pull out the bolt. I believe when you see these things, the M40A1, pictures of them in the field, they have just tons of duct tape and foam back here to build it up. It seems like the stock or the drop at the comb was designed for open sights, maybe. It's really low. It's lower than the normal McMillan hunting stocks, or at least it feels that way to me. So Joe fixed this for me. Otherwise, the stock pretty much wouldn't be usable, in my opinion. Going forward, the bottom metal is Pacific Tool and Gauge M4 bottom metal. It's steel and it's extremely beefy. The trigger guard is extremely thick. As you can see, it's a hinged floor plate. I did not want to go for this build with a magazine. That pretty much precludes it from using it in PRS, which, not that you'd shoot this cartridge in it, but conceivably this could be run in PRS and probably do decent. But with a hinged floor plate, that's not going to work. However, the hinged floor plate allows feeding from the top, topping off your magazine. Given the purpose of this rifle, I didn't want to have to remove the magazine and feed a couple more in, up, put it back in. You know, you drop the magazine, you lose it, and this is attached to the rifle. It's not going anywhere. It's more reliable, but in some aspects, it's less functional. But I wanted everything compact, not to mention I do hunt with this, so when I'm walking through the woods, I don't know how other people carry guns. I usually grab it right on the belly of the gun, which is about where the balance point is. It just seemed like the proper bottom metal for the intent of this build. So this is a steel bottom metal, which then matches up with a steel Remington 700 receiver. This was trued in the barrel, installed, threaded, chambered by Long Rifles Inc. Great company. This was built through a group buy on the sniper side years ago. Maybe 2013, 2012, 2013, back when they were still doing group buys. I found the donor rifle. I wasn't even planning on doing the group buy, but on my way home from work, I stopped at the local gun shop, great gun shop, Carolina Gun Runners in Raleigh, North Carolina, and they had this action. It was an SPS in 25-06 that somebody had traded in, and it was like less than $400, so I just grabbed it and then decided to build something with it. So Long Rifles did the receiver. It has a Long Rifles recoil lug, which is pinned to the receiver, surface ground on both sides, and the trigger is a Timney 510, just the standard Timney. I find that most Timney triggers are very reliable, but the design of the 510 seems to take grit, dirt, things like that much better than the Calvin Elite 2-stage that I prefer, and that kind of fits in with the theme of this rifle. You still have the bolt release down here in the trigger guard, and the one downfall to this cheek rest is I can run the bolt. You can see it stops there. To remove the bolt, I have to remove this cheek rest. Now, it has stops on it, So getting the same adjustment's not an issue. You just need to have the tool. And sometimes I tape it under here. It's a 3/16 hex head. But I don't have that right here, so I'm not going to take it off. But it's a trigger guard bolt release, and the bolt is the stock bolt. It was fluted by Long Rifles. The face screwed, everything that they normally do. The bolt handle was removed, properly timed, and TIG welded back on, so I shouldn't have any issues with that. And this bolt knob is the Long Rifles bolt knob. I'm not that big a fan of it. It's certainly a good knob, but I would prefer the Badger Ordnance knob on here. However, the way this transition is cut, the Badger knob looks funny. You can tell it wasn't intended to go on there. This knob fits great on there, so I run it. I haven't had any issues with it. I like it's a little slick, and I like the media blasted texture of the Badger knob. You have your stock safety here, and you will see playing into the magazine here, the limit on the magazine, it's 4 rounds. Plus 1 in the chamber. I'm running the short action precision plus 2 on the side, which I usually run on most guns. So here's the load I'm shooting, which is the 180 grain AccuBond, Nosler AccuBond. Like I said, this is a multi-purpose rifle. If it was primarily just for long range, I would shoot something else. I don't know, maybe 190 SMKs. Not sure what I'd shoot. However, moving on, we have a Badger Ordnance 20 MOA rail, which has screws opened up and trued to number 8, as I usually do. And you can see that normally this rail hangs over more. It was cut prior to being Cerakoted, and Long Rifles did the Cerakote on this. It's OD green, and the reason it was cut, before I put this scope on, I was running a Night Force NXS compact 2.5 to 10 by 42 with the McMillan reticle. And that scope, I had to cut this for clearance so I could get the scope mounted where I wanted it. Serves extra hanging off here, serves no function, so I just left it when I put this scope on. And because the scope wasn't put on when the rifle was built, you'll see my scope rings are black instead of OD green. These are Badger Ordnance 34mm, 1-inch tall scope rings. And it's holding, the scope rings are steel, so we have steel, steel, steel. Everything is steel except for the barrel, which is stainless. The scope here is a Schmidt & Bender 3 to 20 by 50 PM2 with the Tremor 2 reticle. It has the MTC elevation turret, single turn locking windage knob, parallax, illumination, and Tenebrex covers. It's a great scope. I think this is probably the best scope Schmidt & Bender makes for, I guess, a tactical application. Compared to the 5 to 25, I mean 20 to 25 power, it doesn't matter. Anything I can shoot with that scope, I can shoot with this. But the eye box on this is much more forgiving in both left, right, up, down, and your eye relief is really good with this scope. It's a great scope. If I were to build a gas gun for precision, it would have this scope on it. The eyepiece is a bit heavier, and the scope in proportion is a bit heavier than the 5 to 25, but it is a great scope. It's so easy to just get on your eyes. You could lay behind it all day. Spotting your shots is great. Wonderful scope, highly recommended. But because I'm running the Badger rings, I do not have a built-in level. So here we have an accuracy first level. Now it's not a spirit level. It has a ceramic ball in it. You can see it's U-shaped. So that ball, it's gravity that is pushing that ball down. And it moves back and forth. It's a decent level. I usually use that if I don't have a spur mount. In the back, there's a space with a little rubber cover, and they say it's for tritium, but they don't sell tritium. I believe there are restrictions on that. However, if you go on the internet and start searching, you can find places to buy tritium vials. So behind here, this actually glows fairly bright. I have 3 tritium vials behind here to make it easier to see in the night, because it isn't a through hole, it's a pocket in there, and it makes it easier to see. And they're just held in there by a push-in friction fit rubber piece. I've covered scopes like this before, so I'm not going to go into great detail on the Tremor 2 reticle, but this is very, very close to the 5 to 25 by 56 I run on my more precision guns. Excellent scope. Coming up, I have a Harris Bipod. This is a 9 to 13 inch with notched legs, Cerakoted in green. The reason I went with that, it's simple. These are way more common than the Atlas B&T Industries. There are several bipods and different brands that attach in this fashion to a sling stud. And I also have a sling stud behind it for a normal sling with one down on the butt. This is kind of a utilitarian do-all rifle. I didn't want to get too specialized. If you pull this off, you have a nice smooth forend. You don't have a rail cutting up your hands or anything like that. The barrel is a Krieger barrel. It's the only rifle I have with a Krieger. I guess it was 2012 when I built this, because it was around the time of Obama's second election and nothing was available. I usually use, my first choice is either Benchmark or Bartling. I almost always use those barrels, but Krieger has a good name. It was in stock. It's a stainless steel Remington Varmint contour 10-inch twist. So this back here is shorter than a match grade barrel or match profile barrel. But again, for the purpose of this rifle, it kind of suits it. With the stock, I had a lot of trouble bedding the thicker, bigger recoil pad. It's fairly deep, and the trigger was giving me some clearance issues. So this stock was actually bed by Hill Country Rifles in New Braunfels, Texas. Great company. They built quite a few hunting rifles for me. And they bed the stock for this. And when they did that, I don't remember what barrel channel this this stock came with. It was something I found in stock on the internet. They opened up the stock and made the clearance, or sorry, they opened up the forend, made the clearance and everything correct for the Remington Varmint Contour. Moving down, this is a Mack Brothers muzzle brake. It's a effective muzzle brake. 30-06 is about my limit for precision shooting. I mean, this gun will shoot 3/4 inch groups at 100 yards, no problem. If it didn't have a muzzle brake, I probably couldn't do that. It'd be pushing out there. I'd get some flyers, just it's natural to flinch, and so the muzzle brake helps with that. And if I want to, which I almost always do, I have a Mack Brothers suppressor. This is a 308 caliber suppressor, and they make a long one and a short one. Yeah, this is the short. This is the M762 short. It looks to be about 8-9 inch suppressor. Down here you have a lock and unlock. Just maybe 1/8 of a turn to lock it. It's very repeatable, so you just put it on there, lock it. See that better? It's not going anywhere. My zero is going to still be on. Just quick detach. I think that's the only. Now, I only have 3 suppressors which are quick detach. I generally go to direct thread suppressors. I have this one in 2 Sig Sauer suppressors that I use for hunting. But this suppressor is great, good noise reduction, decent recoil reduction, and I wouldn't hesitate to buy another. I did have to contact Mack Brothers to get an extra muzzle brakes. They weren't on their websites or anything, and they sent me one for free. This was back when they first started selling suppressors. I don't know if they still operate in that fashion. But yeah, they sent me out one, no trouble. And that's my Red Dawn style rifle. It's the type of thing you would put, or I would put in a bug out bag. It's easily shoot out to 1,000, 1,100 yards with it. You aren't going to run into any state restrictions with a bolt action that holds 4 rounds, no detachable magazine. The only thing that could probably give you trouble would be a muzzle brake. I think that's generally more flash hiders rather than muzzle brakes. It's a rifle that's easy to operate. You could put someone behind this and teach them to operate it in just a minute or two. There's not much to it. It's reliable. It's the 700. Stock's dead solid. Scope is amazing. And for me, it has the Tremor 2 reticle, which I'm absolutely in love with. Just the basic do everything rifle. So I appreciate you watching. Please like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe and enjoy.